must be thinking, what am I doing with this leafy cone in my hand right in the middle of the stalk? Well, Harry handed me this salted berries and I'm here to share it with all of you. Now, who is Harry? Harry is the little boy from the humming land, and I have heard that he is going to change the world. Now, before I start my talk, let me give a small declaration that the thoughts that I am going to present today are my personal thoughts derived through various experiences, incidents, and research. Now, let me begin with a very interesting story. A story of two countries, the Gold Land and the Humming Land. And Harry was a little boy from the Humming Land. Humming Land was a small island nearby Gold Land. Now, if one must describe these two countries, these two lands, the Humming Land was flourished with exotic flora and fauna and plentiful of resources, and people over there lived a traditional life. While the Gold Land was also flourished, it was flourished not with the flora and fauna but with factories and buildings. People over there were very modern convenience and automation was very normal at that place. People were fairly rich, around 60 to 70 people were rich enough, their pockets were filled, they ate fancy foods, wore fashionable clothes, automation was very normal. What else? They were unhappy, they were stressful, and hey, they were human beings. Human beings who were hardwired with nature. And it was very natural of them to get fascinated by the exotic flora and fauna of the neighboring island, the Humming Land, that they exploited the Humming Land and the natural resources to the extent that nothing was left at the end of the day. Most of the exotic flora and fauna were extinct. Now, amongst this entire hustle and bustle, one fine day, there comes a little boy, Harry, to the Gold Land. Now Harry, right from the forest of the Humming Land, got this exotic, rare salted berries which had medicinal properties and healing properties in it. Now when he reached the port of the Gold Land, he stopped by the security guard and he asked the security guard, "Hello sir, I am Harry, a little boy from the Humming Land, and I have got this exotic, rare salted berries, and let me tell you, these are medicinal in properties. This heal your soul and distresses yourself. And on top of that, it will make you live longer." Now, after listening to this entire description, the security guard, he got very excited. He took Harry to his house. At his house was his wife and a little daughter. So they purchased some berries from Harry. Now, after taking the berries, Harry suggested them, "Sir, why don't you try these berries right now, right here, and you will see the difference." So with full gusto and full excitement and with all positive thoughts running behind his mind, the guard takes a berry and puts in his mouth. While he was doing this act, his mind was filled with positivity, with hopes that something great is going to happen to him. Something magical is going to happen to him and he's going to get distressed and he's going to get happy. This small thought itself made him distressful. He was filled with positivity. He was of course happy, and seeing all this, his wife said, "Harry, these berries would get exhausted in few days. What will we do after these berries are over?" On this, the little daughter, she uttered, "Mother, Why don't we sow the seeds of this berry, and in gradually, like, we will have tens and hundreds and thousands of berries for us. So the entire family agreed and got impressed with this little girl, and they sowed the seeds of this berry. Now, looking at this entire incident, the neighbors too got inspired. They too imitated, or let me call me social mirrored the act. They purchased the salted berries from Harry, and then they also sowed the seeds of this berry. Now this act was again imitated by their relatives, from relatives to the entire community, from the entire community to the entire city. So in some time, the entire city was filled with greenery. It was bedded with plants and trees of this salted wild berry. Now, with this sudden change in the behavior of the people becoming happy and distressful, the productivity at work also improved, and private organizations, corporates, they started making more profits. The urban local body also became rich. By now, Harry had already become a national hero. He also started making profits, and he decides to shell off extra profits for the poor and the needy. Now again, taking inspiration from this little national hero, individuals and corporates, they also started spending their extra profits on the well-being of the society. And here the individual social responsibility and the corporate social responsibility, it started blossoming. Now if you see, this one act of imitation changed this entire scenario of the city. And then this chain of social mirroring, it continued. From cities, the neighboring cities started imitating or maybe social mirroring this act of sowing the seeds, and the rest was history, as you know. Now after neighboring cities, the districts also started imitating the same act. From districts, it went on to the states, and at the end, the entire nation was bedded with greenery and vegetation and these trees of salted berries. The gold land was not only then flourished with trees and greenery, it also diminished the existing challenges of the gold land, that was irresponsible consumption of the resources. Now this one act of imitation, as well as this little boy Harry, unaware of the realities of the world, changed the entire scenario of gold land. You still don't believe that this small act of imitation can change the world? Let me take you to a real life story, a real life Harry. Now this story is of Lakshmi. Lakshmi, a waste picker, and I was lucky enough to talk to her and share my thoughts on waste management and irresponsible consumption, and how people are, improperly disposing plastic waste. And with time, she also started sharing her thoughts with me. Now, after a few days, Lakshmi bought her first smartphone. And the first thing she did after buying that smartphone was she downloaded WhatsApp, and she shared 2 pictures on WhatsApp story. One had a picture of a small puppy in a gutter. His face was stuck in a plastic container which was probably thrown by someone in the gutter, thrown irresponsibly in the gutter. Lakshmi wanted to put across this message to me. She had once seen me sharing updates and awareness on social media because I used to share it with her. I used to show it to her that see how we are spreading awareness on this. And she got so inspired. I don't want to use the word imitate, but she socially mirrored my act, and she also started sharing, creating awareness through social media. The next photo that she uploaded along with this photo of this puppy was my name written on it. My name written in a broken English spelling. Lakshmi could not write and read English, but she was so firm that she wanted to put across this message to me, and then she wanted to show that see, I am also learning. I also want to share, and create awareness within people like you. And she roamed around her basti. She asked many people if they know how to write Priyanka in English. And with a lot of effort, she somehow, managed to write my spelling, as you can see on the screen. From that day, most of the waste speakers, her friends and people from her bastis, they also started imitating this same act. Instead of songs and quotes and dances on the WhatsApp story, they started putting things like this, like awareness and how irresponsible consumption and irresponsible human behavior is affecting the life on land and in water. Now, from that day, Lakshmi became my inspiration. She became a real life Harry for me. Friends, if you observe, Harry as well as Lakshmi, they both came from a background where they were unaware about the realities of the world. Harry, a little boy from a forest from humming land, and Lakshmi, a poor waste speaker. Yet they became the change makers. Looking at Lakshmi's act, a lot of organizations started approaching her. They started helping these waste speakers, and these waste speakers become resilient. Now, let me also take you to one more story, an inspiring story again of a female. Now, this lady came to Mumbai in around maybe 1980s, where there was a sudden drought in Maharashtra, and people who were working on fields, on farms, lost their job. And in search of job and in search of livelihood, most of them came to Mumbai. Now, when she came to Mumbai, she was uneducated and she chose waste picking as her mode of earning bread and butter. Now, what she saw was that her other waste pickers, other fellows, they were taking loan and credits from these bhangarwalas or the aggregators as we call them. And these bhangarwalas or the aggregators, they were giving loans on interest rate as high as 14 to 15%. And ultimately, these waste pickers, they were not able to repay this loan. And this vicious cycle, it never ended. Now this lady, what she did was, with the help of various grassrooted organizations, she formed a self-help group. Now this self-help group, it started giving loan to these needy waste pickers at interest rate as low as 2%. And with whatever activities the self-help group did, and the profit what they got from these activities or the businesses, they equally distributed among the members. And till date, this lady has got over 200 to 250 self-help groups under her umbrella. Isn't it interesting and isn't it inspiring that that a common man, someone who was just unaware about the realities of the world, uneducated, made such a big difference in the society. This lady was then called at various international conferences. She became a global face. Friends, with this, let us refuse to say that the system is not working or the things around us are not working. If you want to earn money, if you are unemployed, SDGs, that is Sustainable Development Goals, has already opened avenues for you. If you want to work for zero hunger, if you want to become a change maker, go meet some local restaurants, talk to them. Go meet some corporates, talk to them for funds. Go meet some needy people and form self-help groups and sell 2 times of roti and dal to these needy people. Now, for example, if you're selling one-time meal at rupees 5, that becomes 10 rupees for 2 times, right? And if we consider 500 people who are in need of food on daily basis, which I think is again a small number, but let's assume it. So 500 into 10, per day you earn 5,000 rupees, my friend. Now you deduct whatever expenditures you made, but still just imagine the amount that you would earn monthly while making a change in the society. Sustainability is like an old wine in a new bottle. It is deeply rooted within us. Even in our ancient Indian literature, Rig Veda, it is mentioned that poverty should be banished and human beings should consume responsibly, and that one should not consume everything by themselves. With this, I want to leave you with 2 questions. One is, have you tasted the salted berries yet? And are you ready to cope up with uncertainty? Because in this world, nothing is certain. The only thing that is certain is uncertainty. Thank you.